I watched the Kirby Air Riders Direct recently, and I'm so glad that that happened because I feel like it's been such a dry spell when it comes to games I'm interested in lately. Other than like a couple of others, like there's been no news about any game I'm interested in. But luckily this one came out because I remember they revealed it in the Switch 2 Direct, and I was like, oh, that actually looks sick. A new Kirby Air Ride, that'll be awesome. So I wanted to talk about the game, the Direct, and everything in between. Now, I never played the original Kirby Air Ride. Whenever I wanted to actually get the game, I remember, I think it was 2017, I showed interest in getting the game, but it was like $60 maybe, and I did not have that money back then. Like, I barely had enough money to get Melee back in 2017. That was not in the cards back then, but I always wanted to try out the game because it looked like a game I would really like. Unfortunately, the price just never made sense, and it even got worse over time because everyone's trying to get these old GameCube games. But luckily, Kirby Air Riders is now a thing, and it's coming out in November. We'll get to that. But I think I'm going to give this game a shot because it looks really fun. Now, I will say, it looks really fun, but from what I've seen and the stuff I've heard from other people, this game looks like more of a remake of the original Kirby Air Ride than a true sequel, which is kind of weird. But at the same time, that doesn't really affect me because I've never played the original game before. So, I mean, this is going to be a new experience to me almost completely. I think I've only seen gameplay here and there online. I think in general, the first thing that comes to my mind is that the game looks really frantic, honestly, but not in a bad way. It looks like a fun type of frantic. I feel like some people would see that in kind of a bad light, but I kind of like that it looks frantic and it's very fast and very fast paced and kind of crazy at times. It's the sort of like, I guess, party game sort of style that Sakurai likes to have in his games, and I do like that aspect. Like I think it's WarioWare Get It Together. I'm probably one of the only people that really like that game. I play that every now and again with family, and like I'll like go to I think it's the mode where you do all the micro games but really sped up, and that is probably one of the craziest experiences you could ever have playing video games, and I love it a lot. And even with Mario Kart World, that game, now there's like 24 players or however more there are now, it's like that is so, it can get really chaotic, and I feel like this is also chaotic but in its own way, and I really like that. So I really wonder how the simple button layout is going to work. I feel like some people like the original controls, some people don't. I'm gonna have to feel it out for myself to really see how I feel, because it's kind of hard to tell. It looks interesting, and in a way it looks slick, depending on what do you call it, a machine you use, but like I really won't know until I actually can, play it myself. When I look at Mario Kart World and how crazy it can get with the amount of players that are in one race, and thinking about Kirby Air Riders and the fact there's only like 6 people that can race at a time, I think that's a nice way to kind of have it be like a whole different experience when it comes to racing. Granted, I know some people are like, man, it's kind of weird that there are 2 different racing games made by Nintendo so close to each other. I don't personally see the problem because, once again, like some people I feel like are already kind of over the whole Mario Kart World thing, or like they want something a bit different, and that's Kirby Air Riders. So personally, I feel like it's fine to have both options. I don't really see the big deal about having it so close together. But I know that's just me, and I know I have weird opinions, so take of that what you will. I know in the original, people thought the race mode was fine. It was passable, but it wasn't really the main event. I feel like the races now should be a bit better than the original, and they should be a lot more replayable. I mean, I don't really know. Again, I didn't play the originals, but like, I mean, it looks pretty replayable. So they talked about races in the Direct, which I think they called it Air Ride mode, right? Something like that. And they also talked about the City Trial mode. Now this mode, I'm really interested to see what I am going to think of it whenever I actually get to play it, because I have some thoughts already. I'm sure a lot of people already know this, but in Smash Bros 3DS, there is a mode that's basically City Trial called Smash Run. You get to run around this map, collecting a bunch of stat boosts, and at the end, you see how you did, and you get to compete in some random event against everyone else. People really like Smash Run. I've heard nothing but good things. I personally don't really like Smash Run. I don't know what it is, but back when I played it all those years ago, I just thought like it was kind of tedious to do. It was a little boring that I didn't get to interact with anyone else that was going around the map. It was just me, and having the whole event at the end, just a random event that lasts like 2 seconds. and not all of them are really that interesting. I don't know. I've warmed up to it a bit now, and I can recognize why people love it, but I personally don't really love Smash Run. Now, City Trial is obviously, like the original City Trial is like basically that, but I think in Smash Bros they added a couple things like random events. I mean, I'm probably wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's where the random events started. And in Kirby Air Riders, they're adding random events, which I do think is going to help that kind of be a little bit more fun in my eyes, and also the fact that like you're in a 3D plane and you're playing against 15 other people, and you can actually interact with them. Whenever I did see City Trial in the direct, I was thinking like, oh, this looks really fun. This looks really, really fun. And whenever we got to the random events that will happen and the bosses, I'm like, oh, this is just Smash Run. This feels much more like Smash Run than the original Kirby Air Ride did, the original City Trial did. And it seems like they made a lot of improvements to the original where it should flow a bit better. However, there's still some stuff I'm kind of mixed on. Like, I'm not a fan of Skya. I mean, I love how it looks, and I think it seems like it's going to be a cool map to explore. But whenever I initially saw it, I thought, man, that looks kind of small. I'm probably a weirdo for saying that. I'm probably in the huge minority. I felt like there should be multiple maps, right? I feel like that would make the most sense to make this not get stale too fast. There should be multiple maps. The map we got here is good, but I feel like there should be more maps because I feel like there's not a lot of exploration that can be done in this for it to be just one map. Granted, you can go into that volcano and that random sky island thing, but once you discover those, you know what's there. Another problem I have is how they're doing the stadium thing. I think in Smash Run, it was just a random event that everyone did, which is how they did it in City Trial, in the original Kirby Air Ride. But in this game, it looks like you can set it to where you have 4 different options and you can choose whatever you want to do, which I'm like, okay, that's cool. I like having options. But with how Sakurai is, with how he wants to balance the game and how he's like, if you're unprepared and you're not going to have very much fun and stuff, you can only have 8 players in a thing at once. If there's more, then it gets split off. And if you're the only person in the actual stadium, then you win by default and play against CPUs. Like, what? Luckily, you can turn off the random vote in settings and you can have it where you play against more people consistently. And I guess it makes sense to not have 16 people playing at the same time for this. I guess that could get a bit too crazy, but the way he orchestrated this, I don't know, I just don't love how he did it. And it kind of just reminds me how I had issues with Smash Run. Not to mention, and I feel like I would have this problem with the original game too, but it feels like a waste of time to collect all of these stats and go through a whole 5-minute gauntlet just to spend 2 minutes in some random arena playing darts. Granted, I like how that stadium looks. I feel like I'll have fun with that. But the point is, some of these mini games, it makes it feel like it's a waste of time just to collect all those stats, and it just doesn't really equate to everything you have done. And I had this problem with Smash Run too, doing all of this just to climb or to run for a minute and a half. That's just kind of boring. It would help if you could do multiple in a row. Now that's how you do it. If they added that option, then I would shut up. I would say, okay, cool, carry on. But I don't really like how it's just one short challenge and then you go on to the next one. I think it just doesn't make sense. It just makes it feel like that the process of upgrading your stats is the only thing of note here. And the thing at the end is just extra. All of that being said, I still think City Trial looks like it'll be fun for at least a bit. I'm just scared that I'm going to do it for a bit and be like, okay, this is starting to get a little bit annoying. I'm bored of it. Now, there are some things that haven't been explained about the game yet. There's definitely a missing mode somewhere. I know in the original, there was this top-down ride mode and people didn't really like it. And yeah, it looks really boring. But if they were to add a whole new mode, like a story mode, that would be cool. But I'm not getting my hopes up about a story mode. I know a lot of people were being like, oh, the last CGI trailer at the very end of the direct, that means a story mode. I'm like, I feel like it's just a character reveal, and that's an original Kirby character. I don't really know Kirby lore. I don't know Kirby characters really. But if it is a story mode or if they add some sort of single player based thing that adds replayability to the game, then it will make it much more justifiable to play the game and actually buy it at launch. I almost forgot to come back to this. The game comes out on November 20th. I think that's pretty funny that that's their big November title, which obviously that doesn't really mean much anymore, and it doesn't really matter just in general. I'm more interested in less than the release date of this game. I'm more interested in Metroid Prime 4 and Age of Imprisonment, the Zelda Hyrule Warriors spinoff. When are those games coming out? At this rate, I think Age of Imprisonment is going to come out in December, and Metroid Prime 4, I don't know. I feel like it has a few options, but if you ask me, I personally think the game is getting delayed to January. I think it's over for that game. But yeah, Kirby coming out on the 20th, which I think the game's $70, which right now, this game is not worth $70 in my mind. There's too little in the game for it to be $70. And even if they added a single player game, that's still pushing it. I hate the $70 price tag unless it's something like Tears of the Kingdom. Whatever, they just have to add some meat to the game. And I think the game's like 25 gigabytes. There has to be something there potentially. So I'll keep my hopes up. I think the game looks really good, and I am excited to play it, but I am not convinced to play it at launch yet. Do you have to show me more? Do you have to show me why it matters? Why I should spend a lot of time with it in the first month? And they haven't yet, but they will. They'll show us something. I don't know if that's going to be the reason I'm going to play more of the game, but we'll see. But that's about all I've got on that, and I'm going to head out. Later.